There's a powder sitting on the shelf of every garden center and hardware store in America that kills every bedbug in your home and destroys every egg they have hidden inside your mattress, your box spring, your baseboards, and the cracks behind your headboard. It costs less than $2 per application. It has been registered with the Environmental Protection Agency as a pesticide since the 1960s, and it kills bedbugs through a physical mechanism that the insect cannot develop resistance to no matter how many generations pass. No fogger. No chemical bomb filling your bedroom with synthetic neurotoxins you inhale in your sleep. No exterminator charging you $1,500 to $3,000 to spray the same active ingredient across 3 visits, spaced 2 weeks apart while you bag every piece of clothing you own and sleep on your couch for a month. Just powder, a squeeze bottle, and 20 minutes of your time. The compound is diatomaceous earth, the fossilized remains of microscopic aquatic organisms called diatoms that lived in freshwater lakes and ocean beds millions of years before humans walked the earth. This powder has been used to kill crawling insects since long before the modern pest control industry existed. Your great-grandmother dusted it around her mattress frame without thinking twice. She did not own a phone number for a bedbug specialist. She did not need one. Then the pest control industry turned bedbugs into a $2 billion emergency. And a powder that cost pennies and solved the problem permanently had to vanish from public conversation. They did not stop recommending it because it failed. They stopped talking about it because it eliminated the most profitable pest event in the entire service calendar. A $2 powder that kills the colony and the eggs in a single application cannot generate a $1,500 treatment invoice. And what cannot generate an invoice cannot sustain a quarterly service contract. And what the hotels discovered was even worse. A powder that prevents bedbugs permanently means a guest who never sues, never posts a 1-star review, and never generates a claim against the property's liability insurance. But it also means the hospitality industry's entire quiet relationship with the pest control sector disappears. This is the story of the cheapest bedbug killer ever documented, and the billion-dollar alliance between the hotel industry and the extermination companies that prayed you would never find this video. Welcome to Forbidden Camping. If these investigations matter to you, subscribe and hit the bell. This is where we dig up what the pest and hospitality industry buried. Now let me take you back to the bottom of an ancient ocean. 30 million years ago, long before the first civilization rose, microscopic single-celled organisms called diatoms floated by the trillions in the sunlit upper layers of freshwater lakes and shallow seas across what is now North America, Europe, and Asia. Diatoms are algae, but unlike any other algae on Earth, each diatom builds itself a shell made of pure silica. Glass. Every individual organism constructs an intricate glass skeleton around its single cell, a structure so precisely geometric that electron microscope images of diatoms look like architectural blueprints designed by engineers who have not been born yet. When these organisms died, their glass shells sank to the bottom and accumulated in layers hundreds of feet thick over millions of years. Geological compression turned those layers into a soft, chalky, sedimentary rock that miners eventually learned to excavate, crush, and mill into an ultrafine white powder, diatomaceous earth. Under a microscope, each particle of this powder looks like a shard of broken glass. Because that is exactly what it is. Microscopic glass fragments with razor-sharp edges invisible to the human. High but catastrophic to any insect with an exoskeleton. The pest control applications were documented in agricultural science as early as the 1920s, when grain storage operators in the American Midwest discovered that dusting harvested wheat and corn with diatomaceous earth prevented insect infestations in silos without any chemical treatment. By the 1960s, the EPA had formally registered diatomaceous earth as a pesticide for residential and agricultural use. And the science behind its kill mechanism is so elegantly simple that no insect species in recorded history has ever developed resistance to it. Now, let me show you exactly how this powder kills a bedbug, and why no chemical spray the exterminator carries in his truck can replicate what it does. When a bedbug crawls through a thin layer of diatomaceous earth, the microscopic silica particles cling to the insect's exoskeleton and begin cutting into the waxy outer layer that seals moisture inside the bug's body. That waxy cuticle is the bedbug's single most critical survival structure. It is a waterproof barrier that prevents the insect from dehydrating in the dry air of your bedroom. Diatomaceous earth destroys that barrier through mechanical abrasion. The silica shards score microscopic lacerations across the cuticle surface with every movement the insect makes. Each step the bedbug takes drives the particles deeper into the joints between its body segments, the soft tissue around its legs, and the folds where its abdomen meets its thorax. Once the cuticle is compromised, moisture begins escaping from the insect's body at a rate it cannot replace by feeding. The bedbug dehydrates from the inside out. It does not matter whether the bug has eaten recently or is engorged with blood. The water loss is mechanical and irreversible. Death occurs within 24 to 48 hours of sustained contact with the powder. And here is where diatomaceous earth separates itself from every chemical pesticide on the market in a way the industry absolutely does not want you to understand. Chemical insecticides kill bedbugs by attacking their nervous system through specific biochemical receptor pathways. Pyrethroids bind to sodium channels. Neonicotinoids target acetylcholine receptors. Each chemical class attacks one molecular lock on the insect's biology. And bedbugs, which reproduce in enormous numbers and cycle through generations, in a matter of weeks have proven devastatingly effective at mutating around those locks. A 2017 study published by researchers at the University of Kentucky tested bedbug populations collected from infested apartments across the United States. The results confirmed that resistance to pyrethroid insecticides, the most commonly used chemical class in professional bedbug treatments, had reached near universal levels in urban populations. The bugs the exterminator is spraying in your apartment have already evolved past the chemicals he is using to kill them. He knows it. The product manufacturer knows it. The pest control company billing you $1,500 per treatment visit knows it. And they keep billing you because the alternative is a $2 bag of fossilized algae that kills through a mechanism no living organism can evolve around. You cannot mutate your way out of being physically shredded at the cellular level. You cannot develop genetic resistance to glass cutting your body open. That is why diatomaceous earth worked in 1920, and it works identically today, and it will work identically 100 years from now. The chemistry of the insect has no answer for the physics of the powder. Before we go deeper, I need to stop and tell you something. Everything I just revealed about diatomaceous earth is only one chapter in a much larger book. I have spent months compiling every technique and every method that corporations across multiple industries have deliberately buried. All of it lives inside the forbidden camping vault. The complete pest elimination system with formulas that outperform commercial chemical poisons at a fraction of the cost. The mold remediation protocol that kills black mold to the root for $1 while the industry charges $5,000 to rip out your wall. The battery restoration procedure, the headlight restoration formula, the engine light diagnostic protocol, the full off-grid blueprint, the 72-hour blackout checklist, the forbidden firecraft manual, plus water heater maintenance, food preservation methods, and over 10 additional guides in one vault. The link is in the description, and there is a QR code on your screen right now. Go open the vault before we continue, but do not close this video. Stay with me. We are barely past the surface. Now stay with me, because this next part is where the money trail leads somewhere the hotel industry does not want you to follow. The bedbug treatment industry in the United States generates over $2 billion in annual revenue. That figure includes residential extermination services, commercial property treatments for hotels and apartment complexes, and the sale of chemical treatment products at both professional and consumer retail levels. The average professional bedbug treatment for a single-family home costs between $1,000 and $3,000, depending on the severity and the number of rooms involved. Heat treatments, which have become the premium upsell in the extermination industry over the past decade, cost between $2,000 and $4,000 per treatment. Some companies charge per room, with rates running $300 to $500 per affected space. And most exterminators recommend 2 to 3 follow-up visits spaced 14 days apart to catch newly hatched nymphs that survive the initial treatment. That follow-up schedule alone can double the total invoice. Now consider the hotel industry. There are approximately 55,000 hotels operating in the United States, containing roughly 5 million guest rooms. The American Hotel and Lodging Association has acknowledged that bedbug incidents represent one of the most significant pest-related liabilities facing the hospitality sector. A single confirmed bedbug report in a guest room can trigger legal liability, insurance claims, negative online reviews that suppress booking revenue for months, and remediation costs that frequently exceed $5,000 per incident when you factor in the treatment, the lost room revenue during closure, the deep cleaning, and the mattress and furniture replacement the property performs to protect itself legally. Hotels spend enormous sums on pest control service contracts to manage this exposure. The largest hospitality chains maintain standing quarterly agreements with national pest control providers running into the millions of dollars annually across their entire portfolio. That contractual relationship is built on one assumption. Bedbug treatment requires professional chemical application by certified technicians using proprietary products that only licensed operators can purchase and deploy. A $2 powder that any maintenance worker could dust into every bed frame, every baseboard crack, and every headboard mounting bracket in the building. As a permanent preventive barrier is the single worst possible development for both the pest control company holding the service contract and the hotel's insurance carrier that prices its policy based on the assumption of ongoing professional treatment. The powder does not expire. It does not evaporate. It does not lose effectiveness over time. As long as the diatomaceous earth remains dry, it continues killing any crawling insect that contacts it for years after a single application. One dusting behind a headboard in a hotel room creates a kill zone that remains active for the useful life of the furniture. No quarterly visit, no callback invoice, no recurring revenue stream, just permanent mechanical death for any bedbug that crosses the barrier. And that is precisely why the hotel industry and the pest control industry have a shared financial interest in making sure you never learn the name of this powder. If you have made it this far, you already know more about bedbug biology and treatment economics than 99% of homeowners and hotel guests in this country. Subscribe and share this with someone who just got a $2,000 estimate from an exterminator for a problem that fossilized algae could have solved before the technician's truck left the parking lot. Everything the pest industry buried is inside the complete vault. The link is in the description. Now, here's exactly what to do, step by step. Go to any garden center, hardware store, or farm supply shop and buy a bag of food-grade diatomaceous earth. Food grade is critical. There's a different product called pool-grade diatomaceous earth that has been heat-treated and contains crystalline silica at concentrations dangerous to human lungs. Do not buy pool-grade under any circumstances. Food-grade diatomaceous earth costs between $4 and $10 for a bag that contains enough powder to treat every room in your house multiple times over, and cost per room application is roughly 50 cents. Though you will also need a plastic squeeze bottle or a powder duster applicator, which runs about $2 to $3 at any hardware store. Step 1. Strip every piece of bedding from your mattress, including sheets, mattress pad, pillowcases, and comforter, then bag all of it in sealed garbage bags and transport it directly to your washing machine. Wash everything on your hottest water setting and dry on high heat for a minimum of 30 minutes because these pests and their offspring cannot survive sustained temperatures above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and a standard household dryer on high heat surpasses that threshold within 5 minutes of a cycle. Step 2. Stand your mattress on its side against a wall and examine seams, piping, tag corners, and any tufted indentations across both surfaces, since these are primary hiding zones where unwanted critters tuck themselves away during daylight hours. You're looking for live crawlers, tiny rust-colored residue marks, shed outer shells that resemble translucent husks, and small white clusters roughly a grain of salt in size tucked into seam folds. Step 3. Using your squeeze bottle or powder duster, apply a very thin layer of diatomaceous earth along every mattress seam, every piping edge, and every tufted depression on both sides, because thin is your operative word here. If you can see a visible pile, you applied too much since these critters will avoid a thick mound of any foreign substance. And you want a dusting so fine it is barely visible to your naked eye, so they cannot detect it at that thickness and will crawl directly through it on their nightly route from hiding spots to your sleeping body. Step 4. Pull your bed frame away from walls and dust diatomaceous earth along every joint, every bracket, every screw hole, and every crack in your frame structure. Puff powder into hollow legs of metal bed frames while also dusting along upper edges of headboard mounting brackets and into every gap between headboard and wall. Step 5. Remove baseboard trim if possible, or use a squeeze bottle nozzle to puff powder into gaps between baseboard and wall along your entire bedroom perimeter. Because these pests travel along wall edges in darkness, and this perimeter line of diatomaceous earth creates an inescapable treatment barrier that every one of them must cross to reach your bed. Step 6. Dust inside electrical outlet covers and light switch plates on walls nearest your bed by removing a cover plate with a single screw, puffing a small amount of powder into each wall cavity and replacing it, since these critters harbor inside wall voids and use electrical box openings as entry points into rooms. Step 7. Apply powder along inside edges of nightstand drawers, behind picture frames hung near your bed, and inside any zipper track of a mattress encasement if you own one. Step 8. Replace bedding with freshly laundered sheets and sleep in your bed normally, because this step is important and most people get it wrong. You must sleep there because your body heat and carbon dioxide output are signals that draw these pests out of hiding and across treated zones to feed. And without a host present, they remain tucked inside their hiding spots and never contact powder, meaning your presence is actually bait that drives them through a treatment barrier. Within 24 hours, a first wave of foraging critters will cross diatomaceous earth barriers on their way toward you, picking up silica particles on their outer shells and carrying them back into hiding spots where they contact others during daytime clustering periods. So powder spreads through an entire group in exactly this manner on bodies of these creatures themselves. Within 48 to 72 hours, you will begin finding inactive pests in and around treated zones, and within 1 to 2 weeks, an entire active population will be gone. Offspring that were present at treatment time will emerge over a following 10 to 14 day window, and newly surfaced juveniles will crawl directly into those same powder barriers that handled adults, meaning one application covers a full life cycle from grown critters to offspring to juveniles with no follow-up treatment, no second invoice, and no callback visit. Now, I need to be completely honest with you about one important point because that honesty is what separates this channel from an industry that profits from your panic. Diatomaceous earth works through sustained physical contact and gradual moisture loss from their bodies, so it is not an instant knockdown agent and does not work on contact, how a direct spray of traditional treatment products does. If you're expecting to dust your room at 8 in the morning and find every pest gone by noon, you will be disappointed. And you will lose faith in this process before it has time to work. A full removal cycle for a moderate situation takes 1 to 2 weeks, because powder must contact every generation, including juveniles that have not yet surfaced at application time, and patience is your single most critical factor in making this method succeed. Another limitation is moisture, since diatomaceous earth loses its abrasive effectiveness when wet. And if powder absorbs humidity or gets damp from a spill, it clumps together and microscopic cutting edges become blunted. Keep application zones dry and powder remains effective indefinitely. And in a climate-controlled bedroom, a single application maintains full working power for months to years without reapplication. This knowledge did not disappear because powder stopped working. It disappeared because a $2 billion industry needed it to. Every night in America, hundreds of thousands of people lie awake in beds they are afraid to sleep in, next to furniture they are terrified. To touch inside rooms they have been told require a licensed professional with a truck full of products and a bill that starts at $1,000. And every single one of those infestations could be dismantled by a powder that was formed at the bottom of an ocean 30 million years ago and costs less than a cup of coffee. The bedbugs did not change. The powder did not change. The only thing that changed is who profits from your not knowing it exists. Diatomaceous earth is sitting on that shelf right now. Still $2. Still waiting for you to remember what your great-grandmother never forgot. If this video made a difference, subscribe and share it with every person you know who has ever found a bite on their arm and felt that sinking wave of dread that the pest control industry has spent decades converting into revenue. Every share preserves what the industry tried to erase from public awareness. Every subscription keeps this vault open for the next person who needs it. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside it is even heavier than what was hiding inside that mattress seam.